Carjackings are down in Washington, D.C. 37%. 37%.
From here
to
here?
Whether or not 37% is a significant number.
It's not safe.
It's just math.
Hey guys, so Washington, D.C. has a reputation for being somewhat filthy, not just in terms of the politicians and the people that work here, but the literal conditions of the city. It's also pretty violent, as illustrated by those recent photos of the Doge staffer, if you remember those. And Scott Jennings went on CNN to say this, and he got a little bit of pushback, so let's look at that.
That Washington, D.C. is violent. There's roving street gangs. There's lots of carjackings. And, you know, this guy worked in the White House. He was known to a lot of senior government officials. And I told you last night it had set off a firestorm in the Republican Party, and this is the result.
Carjackings are down in Washington, D.C. 37%. 37%.
From here to here?
Whether or not 37% is a significant number.
It's not safe.
It's just math, right? It's just math. 37% drop is a significant drop. Here's the deal. If the president is doing this because someone that he knows got a...
Okay, let's pause on this figure. So I don't think that any of the panelists would disagree with the fact that 34% is a statistically significant number. But that's still an enormous amount of assaults, robberies, violent crimes, and property crime. I mean, I don't know that it's going to be a great comfort to someone who is a victim of a robbery or an assault to say, well, you know, crime is mostly down, so I guess you're just unlucky, but hopefully we'll reduce it a little bit more next year. And this is a quality of life issue, which is a little bit difficult to capture with just statistics. I mean, if you walk around DC or San Francisco or New York City or Cincinnati, let's say, you're going to see homeless people sprawled everywhere. You might be told by locals that there are certain parts of the city you should avoid at night or even in the daytime. And so there's just this atmosphere of fear and capture by basically vagrants who have seized the city, and law enforcement, many times in many situations, their hands are bound by the law. They really don't have that much power to actually put these people away. Maybe they put them in jail and then they get back out again and then they commit more crimes. The shoplifting problem is so incredible in cities like San Francisco that some stores have to shut down. Many stores don't even report really accurate statistics because what's the point? I mean, these people are not being dealt with. President Trump did have a recent executive order that hopefully will go some ways towards cleaning up the city. This was an EO which said, you know, basically we're going to reopen the asylums and there are certain people which we need to institutionalize. That's clearly correct. There are some people that need to be institutionalized, and there are some people who just need to be put in prison. There was one study of an American city, and this was in the context of shoplifting, which suggested that the vast, vast majority of the shoplifting incidents were being committed by basically a handful of people. That if you could take this specific, 300 people and put them away, the city would almost instantly be spruced up. But it's incidents like this which I think are driving people to say, hey, we need to do something about our cities.
If the president is doing this because someone that he knows got assaulted, unfortunately got assaulted, and then he can use that as an excuse to do what he likes to do, which is ratchet things up and use authoritarian measures to show force and take things over, then that's what he's getting at. But the reality is that things in terms of crime are trending down in Washington, D.C. It's just math. We didn't cook it up in a leftist socialist bubble. It's just math, guys.
What's authoritarian about having law enforcement?
It's true that crime is...
I totally understand Scott's body language here. He looks just baffled at what this panelist is arguing. And the other panelist is arguing it in such a condescending way. Like, he's totally incapable of understanding why an average person who lives in Washington, D.C. might want more law enforcement in the city. If you visit Washington, D.C., it should become extremely clear to you why people are calling for this. Now, people can take issue with anecdotes, but we've seen both sides of the aisle seize on particular anecdotes to forward whatever policy push that they want. For the left, I would say that's going to be gun violence. We saw Jim Acosta interview an AI version of a dead high schooler recently to promote gun control. That was absurd. That was insane. And then in 2020, we had George Floyd, which was an anecdote, which turned into an enormous cultural explosion and justified weeks of rioting, I guess. Now, between the two, I would say that I'm leaning towards Trump's use of anecdotes to clean up Washington, D.C., and hopefully he really does it. I mean, this is supposed to be the nation's capital, the jewel of America, and unfortunately, it's just dirty and gross. But the bones are still there, and it's a beautiful city. The architecture is amazing, so there's a lot of potential. If we could not have insane people running down the street, maybe chasing you with a jagged bottle. I don't know. Just an example that came from nowhere. But what do you think about Trump's plans for Washington, D.C.? Have you been to the city? What do you think of it? Is it safe? Let me know in the comment section below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.